Fishing at the lake, or just taking a break. The countdown clocks have started, fight songs pass the time. The days may run together, but you know that in our mind it's always Saturday. Take me back to Saturday. Saturday. Give me those 12 Saturdays. Spot the ball. March Madness is a blast, and we love baseball games, but nothing beats the feeling of having a killer slate of games. It's always Saturday. Take me back to Saturday. Saturday. Dreaming of all Saturdays. Spot the ball. Spot the ball. Oh, college football. Sat at your day.
The small, lay a big hit and pass a kickball. This game is for us all. From Seattle down toward the Keys, this game is you, this game is me. Cats, dogs, and steer, be the tree. This game is America, so sing it loud with me. College football forever. College football forever. Downtown LA, Starkville sit. 1 week you're up next, take a dip. Run the rock or let it rip. This game is America. All say, can you sing it with me?
We just stepped on her face with a hot-tail moving across her nose. Whoa, Nelly!
College football forever. College football forever. College football forever. College football forever.
College football is a year-round discussion with these two. Here's JC and Morgan. Mike Morgan of ESPN and JC Sherbert of 24/7 Sports have you covered, beginning right now.
And a good Tuesday morning to you. Welcome back. Another installment of JC and Morgan. He is JC Sherbert of 24/7 Sports. I'm Uncle Mike. Just a guy named Mike.
Uncle Mike. I like
Uncle Mike. Just around the campfire telling a few tales.
It's like
Not
someone
Uncle
that
Luke.
maybe has a not Uncle Luke, yeah.
Not
Uncle Mike.
Uncle Luke has had a bad week with the Fighting U dogs. But
Yeah.
bug killing and HVAC repairing took a hit, but nevertheless, not Uncle Luke. I'm not singing as nasty as they want to be. I'm just talking some ball here. You know, I was thinking about this, JC, as we go now. We're in the week 10 range, actually week 11, but everybody's had at least one by now. What a nuts, crazy, just bizarre season we have had this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the highlight, unfortunately now, and I think this is a trend, it's hard to do these shows, and you and I do multiple of them, and you and I go on other shows across the country, and you, of course, are the purveyor of ITG and Big Spur, and so you have a micro and a macro look at all this. But you can't follow college football and discuss it as we do without talking about coaches getting fired, buyouts, agents, top candidates, Vegas odds on top candidates. Like that's kind of, it's hard to just not have that dominate. So I'm not starting the show with who's the next LSU coach going to be? Who's the next Penn State coach going to be? Who's the next Florida coach going to be? I'm not telling you Lane Kiffin's contract or where him and his family like to vacation. I'm not talking about James Franklin, who was great on Key and Peele, by the way. I thought he was very funny on that show, and where his destination is going to be. That's not where I'm starting. I'm not starting on Heisman Trophy odds. I'm not starting on who's going to be in the SEC championship game or what a great story Indiana has been. You know what I'm going to start today? And we love Phil Steele. This is not picking on Phil. We have Phil on every year. I recommend his magazine. You know how much I get to recommend his magazine? For those watching on YouTube, that's a big zero. My thumb and index finger pinched together ever so slightly. But I like him because his magazine has info. So when I'm preparing to call games, there's a couple sources. There's Phil Steele. There's a guy, and we were supposed to have him on the show, who does Pick Six previews.
Yeah.
Brett Cernia. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. He does a great job. But you can't put these magazines and these things together without doing what, JC? Making predictions. We all got to make predictions. What do you think? 8-4, 7-5, 10-2. What do you think? So
I hate those.
I know. I try and stay away from doing it. I preface it with my opinion on a forecast on how a team is going to do means zero. So you shouldn't even ask. I'll give it if you make me, but you shouldn't even ask. I don't know. But guys like Phil and Brett, what do they have to do to sell copies? You got to make predictions.
Yeah.
And very often, it's just the nature of the business. These are not braggart-type people. They're actually quite modest, but they have to brag about the predictions they get right every year. I think that helps sell more magazines, right? Or more subscriptions or whatever your model is. So like I said, fans of Phil Steele, like Phil Steele. We'll have him on next year, and we'll get his thoughts. This is the Phil Steele preseason top 40. I'm holding this in my hand. And I will tell you, these predictions, for the most part, mirror what just about everybody else had. Like, there might be a team here or there that's an outlier, but most of these predictions are within it's an election night, right? Within the margin of error of everybody else, right? Within like 3, 4, 5 spots at the most. So this is Phil Steele's preseason top 40. Number 1, Penn State. Ooh. Look, I bought it too. I bought the Penn State dream. I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I looked at that returning roster. I looked at Drew Aller. I looked at the fact, James Franklin doesn't win a ton of those top 10 matchups, but damn it, this is the year. I bought it. They haven't won a Big Ten game yet, JC.
Ooh.
That's a problem. Okay. Number two. And again, not just Phil, not picking on Phil. Everybody had this team very high. Some of them had him winning the national championship. Clemson. Oh, man. Hey, why would you not buy it? Klubnik's back. Receivers are back and more mature. Defense loaded. They might not have a true running back. I don't care. They'll win a lot of games in the ACC. They're an automatic to be in Charlotte at least. And then they'll probably dispose of Miami. We're getting to Miami. So Clemson, number 2. Then he goes on a roll. I think this is good. Like Notre Dame, 3. All right, they're not 3, but they're probably going to be in the playoff. Texas, 4. Texas been a bit of a disappointment, but don't look now. They could run the table and get in the playoff. Don't get the shovels out in Austin just yet. Number 5, Ohio State. Well, they're 1 or 2 on just about every poll. Number 6, Georgia. Number 7, Alabama. So I would call that success in forecasting, 3 through 7. Penn State, Clemson, not so much. And number 8, Oregon. I'm okay with that. Here's where it really becomes a problem if you're in the forecasting business. Number 9, Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma's good. And who could have forecasted the Mateer injury? But they're not number 9 good, okay? Number 10, Michigan. Michigan still has an outside chance of getting in the playoff. They'll be favored in every game up until Ohio State. Who's had the upper hand in that rivalry lately, JC? Michigan, Ohio State?
Wolverines.
Wolverines have dominated that rivalry, even as heavy underdogs. So Michigan 10, I can live with that. LSU 11. Ouch. Oh, we all loved LSU at the beginning of the year. I mean, we loved. What's not to love? Nussmeier, top 10 pick, right? Maybe not. Defense improved. A lot of money in the portal. Maybe not. LSU been a major disappointment. They're looking for a coach. 12, SMU. Hey, I mean, SMU, they returned a lot of guys, including the quarterback that led them to the ACC title game.
There's life there, though.
There's life there, and they just beat Miami. I don't think they're the 12th best team in the country.
No.
But yeah. Now this one, oof. Remember all the way back in week 1, Friday night, I was there in beautiful Waco, Texas, home of the Baylor Bears and Waco, Texas. 13 Baylor. But Baylor had Auburn in week 1. Chuck Oliver and I called that game, and it did not go well for the Baylor Bears in that one, and they have struggled mightily ever since. Number 14, it's all about the U-Dog, Miami. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I had Miami, Florida State, and when I walked out of Doak Campbell Stadium that night, and when I came on this show the following Tuesday, I said, and I think you agreed with me, JC, there is no better team in the country than the Miami Hurricanes.
There wasn't through 5 games. I mean, sometimes your initial thoughts in this sport end up being right. And you have to avoid the temporary. I mean, but 5 games is not temporary. That's almost half the dang season. I mean, they were, man, I hate to say it. They hit ACC play, dog. And it's like, so did Florida State. So
the 8-game gauntlet of the ACC.
They hit the ACC that brutal ACC schedule tripped them up a little bit, man.
Oh man, there's a lot of upset gold chains around Coral Gables. Luke Campbell's mad. Michael Irvin somehow is coping in his own way.
One of my buddies knows Luke Campbell personally.
Yeah.
He's hung out with him before.
He's a big youth football guy.
Works in college football. Yeah, he's recruiting too. So
yeah. Yeah. 15, Boise State. No. We're going to get to G5 John later. Boise State is not in his top 5.
Mm-mm.
So, but a lot of people thought Boise State would be your G5 representative. Okay. Florida 17. Oof. No. They're more concerned about looking for a new coach. But I mean, you had DJ Lagway coming back. You had the most athlete. Everybody says Billy Napier's best team. And you know what? On paper it was. But Billy Napier wasn't a good coach. And Florida went right down the toilet. They play hard, but it's still a disappointment.
Showed really what they're capable of. It was a great cocktail party.
Yeah, they've
epic ball game.
Epic ball game. But they lost it, and it's a lost season in Gainesville, yet another one. Now here's where he missed on the other side. Underestimating. 19, Texas A&M. But we all know Texas A&M is better than 19, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they might be the best team in the SEC. Time will tell. But they're certainly on a strong path to Atlanta as of right now. 20, Indiana. And look, I'd be the first one to tell you I didn't think Indiana was going to be great back-to-back years.
So down on Indiana. I was so down on them because I've rewatched them this year. Like I hadn't gone back to last year. Watched them this year. Number one, they're infinitely better at quarterback with Mendoza than Roark. Roark was a good, tough player, but Mendoza's different level. Number two, their line of scrimmage, which I beat up pretty good after seeing them play Notre Dame. It's better. It's like offensive line, defensive line. Their dudes are more dudes. I don't know where they found them. I need to do a deep dive myself in Indiana's line of scrimmage. And then their offensive system, that Mike Shanahan, no relation to the other Mike Shanahans or the Kyle Shanahans of the world. I was like, how are they scoring all these points? Because they're not a big they're kind of a balanced offense. It's genius. There's these things called RPOs that people talk about, it's called run pass option. It's all over football. Their offense is almost entirely that, and it consistently puts the defense in conflict. And if you watch them, there's a play against Maryland that's on Instagram where it's a quarterback draw at about the 7-yard line. Mendoza walks into the end zone straight up the middle to the point where he's patting his offensive lineman on the back, the lead blocker, because nobody's there. You watch them play. There are many, many times, Mike, because they execute it well, where the opposing defenses are just gone the other direction. I don't know of anybody else doing anything quite that committed to the post snap RPO. In other words, it's a read system. That's genius. And when you're in Indiana, I'm sure they got a lot of dudes, a lot of players, and they look better athletically. But you got to outcoach people sometimes, and they're outcoaching people to the extreme because nobody really, once they get you down and get you on your heels on offense, they keep attacking. I mean, the UCLA game, heck, I bet it live. UCLA was getting 44.5 points in the third quarter, and I was like, surely they'll dial something up. And Indiana ended up winning 56-6, and they don't quit. And they just take your soul away. And that's I've got an Indiana question in the JC.
Oh, and the JC5, which is coming up momentarily. Quick tease. Yeah. I would say anybody who's getting an AARP magazine involuntarily sent to their home, you should be ecstatic about Curt Cignetti, because he is living proof that younger is not better. We've seen this in college basketball for years now. Todd Golden last year was the exception of the rule, but most of the teams that are going to Final Fours and winning championships are led by older coaches, not the 30-somethings. In football, there has been this. I mean, you and I talked about it a year ago. Why not Cignetti here? Why not Cignetti there? And I'll be honest. I mean, one of the first things I looked at was, well, what's his age? And at the time, it was 63, and I think now it's 64. And I was like, well, I don't know if a lot of teams. Well, no. He is a young 64. I mean, we all know people that, like, depending on your lifestyle and just your overall vigor in life, I know people that are 32 going on 85, right? And then I know people who are in their 50s, and they're like, remind me of me when I was in my 20s. Age is a number. Cignetti is a young 64. And what they did to lock him up, I don't know if he's going to be coaching 10 years from now. I don't care. I would have done the same thing. Kudos to Indiana. It was $93 million, basically telling Penn State, no, you stay there. I think Indiana, if they go to yet another playoff, it's one of the best 2-year coaching jobs I've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah. And look, man, just like the guy he used to work for, Nick Saban, and I'm sure Nick Saban being from he's not from the Pittsburgh area, but the part of West Virginia Saban's from, close to Pittsburgh. They're essentially from the same part of the country. And I'm sure Saban knew who his dad was, Frank Cignetti Sr. But you look at Nick Saban, man, he's 74 now and still looks like he could do it.
Oh, heck yeah.
And you talk about average college football coaching tenures these days, 8 years till you're 72, 10 years till you're 74. That's an eternity, especially if those are the glory years at Indiana. So yeah. he ain't going. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
DiCaprio in Wolf on Wall Street. I'm not bleeping leaving. A couple more real quick. He had Ole Miss 26. I get it. Like, I could justify all of these bad picks. They lost a first-round quarterback in Jackson Dart. And even if you were real high on Austin Simmons, who's since lost the job, they lost a ton off that defense. Warren Nolan last night got a sack on Monday Night Football in his first game. Their defensive line is not nearly as nasty as it was a year ago. Their defense is not nearly as nasty as They gave up a lot of points, But man, Lane's still drawing up plays, and they still scoring everybody. And Ole Miss is probably going to the playoff. He also had Georgia Tech 30, and Florida State 31 is kind of conservative, but they're obviously worse than 31. No, I just throw that out there. It's not to pick on Phil Steele. I think this is actually good for the sport. For 10 years now, you and I have been talking about the uber predictability. And yes, I mean, it could wind up being Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship yet again. And yes, I mean, Ohio State is still like the Dodgers and payroll and facilities and everything else, and they're not going anywhere. But we do have new blood. We have new money in college football, and the blue bloods are not all winning. And the teams that have the most tradition and the most recruiting advantages, they're not all winning. So I think it's refreshing for the sport. I will say that, and hopefully Phil Steele and all the other people and us are wrong again next year, because I like a little unpredictability in college football.
It's going to be so hard to predict. I said this, and I understand the logic, like Phil Steele. So what we have basically is a 1-year sample size of a 12-team playoff. And who won it? Ohio State won it, despite being kind of lackluster at times during the regular season. Well, what did they have? They had a bunch of older players that they had retained and developed, and then they added pieces from the portal that were quite good and recruited a stud freshman receiver. But the whole, Clemson made the playoff last year. Homegrown talent. The whole narrative was Dabo was right. I don't know that their problems have anything to do with the portal or not the portal, but obviously they're not having a great year this year. So that, and you look back to Mike, who won it in 2023? Michigan. Well, what did they have? A bunch of older senior players, 2022 and 2021 Georgia, older senior players, absolutely loaded, but the most similar team to those great Bama teams Saban had. Even in 19, I don't count 2020 because that was just a strange year, but Alabama won it, Mac Jones. 2019, Coach O had a bunch of loaded. So you start thinking about that, and you kind of become this anti-portal thing, because you had Ole Miss that was loaded with portal talent last year that dropped some games they shouldn't. You had some teams that went out and spent big in the portal last year that dropped some games they shouldn't, weren't as good as they should have been. And so you had a 1-year sample size, and everybody just gravitated toward that because you really don't know what to do. You look at the quarterbacks. Nobody called like the quarterbacks of the top teams in the country, having amongst them Gunnar Stockton and Marcel Reed, and we knew Dante Moore could be pretty good, but it wasn't like that. You kind of look, and Julian Sayin, freshman, he's a freshman, he's pretty dang good. Ty Simpson, questions about him.
Oh my goodness,
my man Trinidad Chambliss. Nobody even talked about. We talked about Austin Simmons all summer.
Ferris State.
And my favorite one of all these is because he's my wife's Thai and he's part Thai. Bear Bachmeier from BYU, true freshman. The Bear. They got them in the top 10.
I didn't even mention BYU and Texas Tech because they are nowhere to be found in Phil's top 40. I'm glad you meant. I'll be on the call for that game. Elite Media Network, EliteMediaNetwork.com. Check it out.
I think Phil saw the portal guys at Texas Tech and thought portal heavy team. I'm not going there. But I mean, he made the logical decision,
right,
based on the sample size. I think it's going to take 3 or 4 or 5 years for us to kind of recalibrate and get a grip. Because for years and years and years, it was about recruiting rankings out of high school, recruiting class rankings. That was a reasonable predictor, right? You have a chance to be good if you do this. It was about, who do you have coming back? Who's good? All that. Now it's so chaotic. And then there's guys coming up from lower levels that we don't know about that are better than the guys going that are there. I mean, it's the sport is in chaos in many ways, but it's entertainment, man. And it's been
it's
entertaining year. I mean, it'll either settle down or I don't know what'll happen, but it'll settle down. I mean, people will get a grasp on it, but predicting this stuff in the off season is a fool's errand.
And I'll just say one thing before we dive into the JC5. We've talked about this before. The super teams, the 21-22 Georgia teams, I don't think they're coming back. Like blue bloods Many of them are not going anywhere, but you can't just stockpile. Even Georgia, as good as they are, that's not a Georgia defense that we're used to seeing from Kirby Smart. Alabama, as good as it is, that's not quite what you were looking at when you were watching Saban's teams rattle off 6 national championships. The portal era has leveled the playing field a bit. It's not complete parity and anybody can win it. No, that's a nice dream and you can sell it, but it has leveled the playing field a bit, and I think that's overall good. What else is overall good is Advocare, Got my blender bottle always, and putting it in front of John Elway. John, your jersey is ruining the shot of the blender bottle from Advocare. I talk about this all the time. I've been using it for 13 years, even before JC and Morgan was a thing. A guy at the gym introduced me to it. Spark, it's my coffee. It's healthy, and it'll make you feel great every morning, keep you focused. No sugar. How about that? So you don't hit a wall. If you use some of the other products like Rehydrate, it's like a Gatorade, but much, much better. Gummies to help you sleep, like natural gummies, not just full of like weed, bro. A number of things on the menu, so to speak. Go to Advocare.com, promo code Mike Morgan. That'll save you 20%. Who doesn't like that? Check it out today if you haven't already. Advocare.com, a product for everybody, delivered right to your door. Not having to deal with the meathead at the GNC. Just go ahead and work at your own pace. Spin till you bleed. Yeah, there's not going to be that woman in the spin class judging you or anything else. Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
I know the type.
You know the type. All right, let's get into the JC5.
It's time for the top topics in the sport. We bring the JC5. Number 1.
All right, Michael, straight off the top rope, Uncle Mike. That sounds like someone who makes a very nice rib rub in the store. Uncle Mike's rib rub.
Uncle Mike's rib rub.
Yeah,
let's
you're
patent that now.
You don't strike me as a sauce guy. You're more of a seasoning guy.
I love both. Oh, you'd be wrong on the sauce. I actually eat too much sauce. I'm the extra sauce guy. I'm not afraid of the upcharge. I'll pay the extra 50 cents for the extra sauce.
I know ranch is extra. Anyway.
I don't care. I'm going for it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Can Indiana
Sriracha, really? At a sushi restaurant, you're going to charge me 75 cents? I'm in.
Do it. All right. Can Indiana win the national championship? Not will.
You are going off the top rope. Can they? Yes, because of the guy you mentioned, Fernando Mendoza, who might be the first quarterback taken in the draft, by the way. He's a difference maker. He's not a game manager, and he's not a good player surrounded by really good players, surrounded by a great coach. He's a great player surrounded by good players and a really good coach. I would say a great coach. So, yeah, I in a year of craziness, I'll say so. I mean, the conventional wisdom says they don't have the depth. Like, you got to be deep to win a chance. It's not like 1 versus 2. If it was 1 versus 2, I wouldn't have even hesitated. But it's, okay, you got to win 3 games after playing in a Big Ten championship game. That is a lot to ask. But I will say they can. I wouldn't bet on it, but they can.
I'm curious to see how they handle Penn State this weekend. Sounds weird to see Indiana
Crap
being
game.
overconfident against Penn State. But then it's Wisconsin, Purdue, and probably the Buckeyes, unless Ohio State loses somebody in Indy. I think they can. I'm a believer now. I sound like a hypocrite, but after diving in and actually watching this year's Indiana team, I think they can. I think they're confident. I don't think they're scared of anybody. Matching up against Alabama or A&M or whoever makes it from the SEC, that's always interesting. But I think this is a good enough football team if they continue to play well and with that mindset, and they're a tough enough matchup to where they can. So I say yes.
All right.
Number 2.
All right, another hot. I put you on the hot seat here, Mike, since everybody else is on the hot seat.
I tell you,
who's going to win?
I have a $20 million buyout, so it's okay.
Here are your choices. The top ranked teams in the league are taking you back to 1990 when Georgia Tech and Virginia were the big dogs. Epic game in Charlottesville that year. Virginia was undefeated, I think ranked number 1 in the country. George Wells, Bobby Ross's Yellow Jackets, Sean Jones go up there and win 41-38. I remember watching every play of that game because not every game was on national TV. It was a CBS game. And Georgia Tech, of course, ended up winning the title. They're the top 2 teams in the league. UVA is 12th in the country. Georgia Tech 16th. But other one-loss teams, Pittsburgh, Louisville, SMU, Duke. I'm not saying a 2-loss team can't win it, but I believe it's probably going to come out of one of these 6. So not necessarily who wins the league, who goes to Charlotte out of this group.
You know what's happened? The ACC became the Big 12. Like, I don't think there's a great team in the ACC, but damn if it's not the most unpredictable league in the country, which is what the Big 12 is supposed to be. That's the selling point of the Big 12. Hey, look at us. We don't have a team that can actually win a title, but we got like 8 that can win the conference, and therefore we are very entertaining, which the Big 12 is. And like I said, I can't wait to see BYU, Texas Tech this weekend up close. But the ACC has become that. The ACC has Big 12 energy. The ACC all of a sudden now has a bunch of teams that actually have a chance to play in Charlotte. And the team that you and I and almost everybody in America thought was clearly the most talented, and they might still be, Miami. I mean, I get a kick out of it. Nevin Shapiro, remember him?
Yeah.
Nevin Shapiro, who got caught doing a bunch of illegal stuff and paid a bunch of players at the U-Dog. He now does a podcast. And he, along with a number of other folks, you know, the whole Mario Cristobal, hey, he's one of us. He played here. Those vibes are gone.
Yeah.
Shapiro and a lot of those other guys with the Pelican tattoos, they are on a daily basis ripping Cristobal to shreds, because this is what Mario Cristobal does. They start off good, and then they spit the bit in November, and they have some inexplicable losses. So everybody's turning on Miami. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Who are the best 2 teams out of
the best 2 teams?
Virginia, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Louisville, SMU, Duke. Who goes to Charlotte?
I think Georgia Tech has the easiest path, right?
Yes, but they took an L to NC State.
They did, which actually I saw that one
And
coming.
NC State has beaten both Virginia and Georgia Tech this year. The Virginia game, though, it doesn't count. It
was a non-conference
standings. That's the most ACC thing ever.
It's the most ACC thing ever. You guys play conference rivals, but it's not a conference game. Doesn't count in the conference. Look, I think Georgia Tech, because of the schedule, even if they get smoked by Georgia, that game's actually in the Dome in Atlanta. It doesn't matter. That's obviously not a conference game. So Tech gets in there. And then I don't even know who the other team is, Jason. I haven't looked at all the tiebreakers. Yeah. That's what I don't know.
Well, Georgia Tech's got Boston College spirited in 2 weeks. Spirited game against Notre Dame by the Eagles, but Bill O'Brien's having a tough year. Then Pitt comes to the Flats the week before the Georgia game. Pitt only has 1 loss.
Yeah,
Pat Narduzzi, baby.
But who is Pitt beaten? Is my question.
Nobody.
Right.
I mean, they beat Florida State. Their 2 losses, they got upset by West Virginia and they lost to Louisville. But, they beat NC State. They beat Stanford. Now, Pitt has Notre Dame, which is not a conference game, but they got them the week before they go to Tech, and then Miami at the end. So
I know the team I like the most.
Which one?
But I can't tell you if the path is there to get to Charlotte. I like Louisville and Jeff Brom. And if Jeff Brom was not an alum of Louisville, like literally played there, actually wore pads and threw passes there, I think he would be in the same conversation after Lane Kiffin that everybody would want him. But if the feeling is he's not going, but I love Louisville.
I do too. And they got Cal this weekend. Bears are kind of tricky sometimes, but they got to come to Louisville. Then Clemson comes in on a Friday night up there. Louisville beat them last year. But then, week before Thanksgiving, it's going to be Showdown Saturday with Pitt, Georgia Tech, and Louisville at SMU on Saturday. So on that Saturday before Thanksgiving. So that's like you said, it's becoming the Big 12 because there's big games late in the year. That same weekend, Michael, the Cavaliers, the Who's, go to Duke. Duke only has 1 loss. They're 4-1. So you're gonna have Louisville, SMU, blockbuster. You're gonna have Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, blockbuster. You're going to have Virginia Duke, blockbuster. That will be championships. That'll be like a mini playoff like they wanted to have the weekend before Thanksgiving in the ACC. So that's we're going to have some separation with these one-loss teams at some point.
And you know what? You know what makes it a mini playoff? And you know what makes the game in Charlotte, which is usually in front of like 12,000 fans, depending on the matchup, what makes that game relevant? I think the ACC is a one-bid league. As of today,
I agree.
As of today, it's a one-bid league. So you either win that thing and get in, or you lose, and you're like the rest of the ACC teams that have 2 losses or whatever, and you're going to a crappy bowl game. That's what I see happening a month from now in that league.
I'm with you. I think Louisville, their only loss, I think, was at home to Virginia in overtime. I think if they win out, that's not only going to be a playoff team, but they could be Louisville. I wouldn't want to play Louisville and Jeff Brom in the first round. You know,
no, not at all.
No, sir. Didn't like it.
Everybody watched on that Friday night what they did to Miami on the road. And make no mistake about it, I don't care if Miami completely spits the bit. They're loaded with talent. That's undeniable. They are absolutely loaded. Now, Carson Beck has these WTF games where he just insists on throwing soul-crushing interceptions. But outside of that, they're a complete team on both sides of the ball with NFL players everywhere. It's not as if they spent their money poorly in the portal, but this is what Miami does, and this is why Mario Cristobal, he's not going to get fired, nor should he, but he will be on the hot seat next year. That much guaranteed.
Number 3.
Number
4.
No, it's number 3, Phil.
I'll go quickly on 3, Phil, so we can go to number 4.
Yeah, we'll just go straight to number 4.
2 for 1.
Southern Cal, a playoff team. You saw them up close and personal out at Nebraska.
Yeah, good question. If they went out, they're in. They'd be a 10-2 Big Ten team. They'd be in. I think the one game, and remember, they beat Michigan. I think it was 31-13. That's their one they can hang their hat on. They can hang their hat on that one. And at Nebraska is a quality win in front of 86,000 fans. Tip of the cap to the environment there in Lincoln. That was my first time ever there. They're incredible. Help me out.
Notre Dame and at Illinois are their 2 losses. Here's their schedule.
Yeah.
Northwestern comes in next Friday night.
Win.
They have Iowa in the following Saturday. I think that's a win. At Oregon.
Problem.
God, dude,
that's where
they used to call that weekend before. The weekend before rivalry weekend used to kind of be boring, man. There's a lot of important games at Oregon that weekend, and then UCLA, the Bruins.
Win. So that's the problem. And I was thinking, like, why didn't I say this on Saturday night? It's because I saw at Oregon, and I just they could win at Oregon. Like, Oregon is not, they're not dominating, and they've taken a little bit of a step back, honestly. They're winning games, but they're not looking great doing it. Southern Cal has enough talent that they could win that game. But I'm going to say no, because I think they lose to Oregon. They finished 9-3, and that would not be good enough.
Oregon better be careful if they want to get in the playoff. They got at Iowa this weekend. That's a tough place to play. They weren't impressive against Wisconsin, but remember last year Wisconsin shut them down too. I don't know what it is. Luke Fickell's probably figured out some defense to play against them, and among the things he hasn't figured out about Wisconsin. And then so Oregon's got at Iowa. Minnesota comes to the Duck Pond. They got SC, and then they go to Washington at the end of the year, which is a more bitter rivalry than people think. Washington's pretty good this year, but not dominant. So yeah, they better be careful, because another loss, and you have another 2-loss Big Ten team that rises up like an SC. You know, they obviously love head to head on the committee. So
4.
Number 4.
Thanks, Mad Dog. Who gets Arkansas, and will it be Bobby Petrino? And I'm saying that after knowing he's lost every game he's coached.
Yeah, but competitive in most of them and scoring points in most of them. But I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Arkansas realizes that this is not 10 years ago, neck brace, motorcycle riding, volleyball riding behind. I'm going to pick my words carefully when describing that. I'm going to say no. It just seems too easy. And I don't know if the administration there wants to do easy and comfortable. And not to bring up age, but Bobby is no spring chicken. And it has nothing to do with the past. Bobby has done his penance, much like Hugh Freeze did his penance. Rest in peace to his Power 4 coaching career. No, I think they go outside the box, JC. Just call it a whim.
Sometimes there's subconscious things that college football fans can't get over, like, why are we hiring the coach from this school again? Or why are we doing this? If they can stand hiring a coach that coaches in Northern Texas with the last name Morris again.
Love him.
Eric Morris at North Texas is a tough gig most of the time. They're rolling.
They had a game against UAB where their quarterback, Mestermeyer, throws for 600. Right?
They found him at nowhere. He was nowhere. It's a 0-star.
Yeah, how many stars was he? Right,
0.
I believe he was a walk-on. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he throws for 600 one week. Well, now you got Navy, and Navy is good, right? So Navy being good and well coached, they probably said defensively, no, we're not going to allow this kid to just throw all over the place. So what do? They get some running back I never heard of to run for 200, and they beat Navy. That's coaching, folks. He's good.
And he's a Mike Leach guy, and like a lot of these Mike Leach guys, Mike Leach didn't want to did not run the football a whole lot. They do. These guys do. Ben Arbuckle does it at Oklahoma pretty nicely. So yeah, that's the beauty of that system sometimes. And and finding talent, obviously. I mean, that's Navy's not easy to beat, man. They're always going to be a pain in the butt with what they do. So all right, rolling on number 5.
Number 5.
Will Urban Meyer get back in this year? I laughed too when I wrote it down, because it's not that it wouldn't happen or that I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah,
it just makes me laugh. I mean, I think
you really like his podcast, don't you? You listen to that quite a bit
because he knows so much about. It's like listening to Nick Saban. They're really the same. I mean, they're obviously different personalities, but they've got a lot of the same characteristics. Urban also dives into recruiting and evaluation a lot. I'm a geek for all that. And kind of talks about the setup of programs more than Saban. And then Saban's more the X's and O's and philosophy. But I love both those guys, and say what you want about him, and sometimes he steps in it. But I don't know what kind of human being he is. I don't know him personally, but he knows ball. He's a winner. I think nowadays, Mike, who cares if he's only there 5 years? I mean, who cares? He's going to win.
I think he only jumps for one of those premier jobs, and that is Penn State, Florida, LSU. I don't think he's going to Arkansas, for example. He ain't about that life. So if a premier school, and I doubt it would be their first choice, right? If a premier school misses on first choice, maybe second choice, now it's like, do we go after the mid-major guy, which very often does fail? Sometimes it works. Everybody has to start somewhere, but sometimes it fails. Here's a stat of the day. There's 3 active coaches that have won a national championship, JC. We know who they are, right? You got Dabo, okay? You got Kirby, and I just forgot the third. Dabo, Kirby. Oh, come on. Ryan Day.
Ryan Day,
yeah. It's right in front of you, Mike. What do those 3 coaches have in common? They all won a national championship, but think about their background when they got hired. What do they have in common?
They were all former assistant coaches
who had never been a head coach.
No. I mean, that's why the Brian Hartline, in theory, hire. I mean, Penn State, that's a guy that's a hot name, according to our Penn State folks at 24/7. That's why it may not be a bad idea. It may be terrible.
Right.
You just never know.
You don't know. This is how many times do we talk about this? It's a crapshoot.
Sometimes if you want to win the press conference, though, winning the press conference, instead of hiring a guy that like got fired, even like James Franklin, because fans are like, oh, he got fired, and then Penn State fans are laughing at you on social media because, it used to be like, let's say James Franklin went to Auburn. Used to be Penn State and Auburn fans, the only time they're interacting is the Outback Bowl, right? But now online, they're like, bah! It's like that scene in Dumb and Dumber where they're laughing and pointing all the time. Nobody wants to feel it. So your fan base is kind of like, oh, wait a minute, he got fired. It's easier to hire a guy press conference wise with a clean slate. He's 0-0. I think those guys get more grace in their first year too. Oh, he's a first year head coach. He'll learn, he'll get better. So yeah, you're right with that. Or then you can hire a proven winner like Urban Meyer and everybody's through the roof.
100%. And for whatever went wrong at Jacksonville, it doesn't matter. He's a Hall of Fame college football coach.
Completely irrelevant. I mean, Nick Saban came back from the NFL, and what did he do? I mean,
right. Spurrier at South Carolina.
Urban's only 61 years old. I mean, we talked about that earlier.
Yep.
He'd be the first coach, I think, in college football history to win it at 3 different schools.
Yeah. I have been told he has been contacted by multiple major job openings. Now, that might just be a kick the tires thing. Like, hey, how much would it cost? What do you need? If we do go to you, that could be the full extent of it, right? But he's on radars. He's on radars more than John Gruden is.
Oh, I feel that. Yeah. No, I mean, you'd be stupid to hire John Gruden over Urban Meyer in college. I mean,
Right.
So look, and his comments about the governor and stuff at LSU on his podcast, he said, this changes the calculus completely. He's like, and he said he called a friend of his in New Orleans, and he seemed very, very interested in finding out what was going on. Almost like, I love the LSU job, and I would definitely be interested in talking to them about it. It was almost like there was a for me in there. This changes the calculus for me. I read an article from our insiders at Penn State that he's probably not going to fly at Penn State for whatever reason. They made it sound like that was Penn State's decision. I'm like, that's probably not. But, like even in Auburn's a great job, right? I don't see him taking that. Remember, he was very, very picky when he left Utah. He's like, he could have, gone to Notre Dame, his dream job, right? But players, Florida,
players,
and he knows that. I mean, if you listen to his podcast, he's one of the smartest individuals about what will work, where, and when. So that's but yeah. I think my answer to that would be it's possible, but
it's possible. Yeah. Like under 50%, but not out of the realm of possibility. That's where I would side. We need to side with a quick timeout, G5 John, and we'll do a deep dive boss into the 2 people that are helping run college football right now. It is JC and Morgan, powered by Advocare, advocare.com. Back in a sec.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the 2 of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cars while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products in out-of-state locations. Go Gamecocks!
Hey, folks, want to tell you about our friends at Titan Construction Group really quick. They're a mid-Atlantic based general contractor, specializes in retail, restaurant, and office construction. TCG strives to separate itself from other general contractors by adding value every step of the process. From project budgeting to estimation, value engineering to construction, they focus on those relationships and not the transaction. Titan builds partnerships one project at a time. Among their clients are Starbucks, Crumble Cookie, Blake Pizza, Home Goods, 15 plus years experience, based in Midlothian, Virginia, and contracted in Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So get on their website, TitanCGinc.com. That's TitanCGinc.com. Get in touch with Brad if you're in need of a general contractor that focuses on going above and beyond for their clients. That's Titan Construction Group, a proud sponsor of the JC and Morgan podcast.
We're passionate about making sure that the Nest and Wild mattress is the best it can be. Made well and made right. Right here in Tupelo, Mississippi. So how can we do all that? Work. Hard work. And that means something. The Nest and Wild mattress is a movement. It's a pride in where you come from and where you're going. So get comfortable, because this movement is just beginning.
This is JC and Morgan on the Chief Sports Network.
College football forever.
And we're back. All right, real quickly, G5 John representing the little man, and I say little in quotations. These are not little programs. It's been a good year for the for the G5 and for my bronchitis. Who fell out of the top five? Tulane, who has maybe the most coveted G5 coach. They're now 6-2 after getting thumped by UTSA 48-26. And then Navy lost to North Texas. We mentioned that earlier, 31-17. Speaking of North Texas, G5 John, in his analytics and his computer breakdown, he didn't need, what's that cat over at Michigan to lead the committee. He just does this himself.
Ward Manuel.
You know, I felt bad because Ward Manuel's walking on the sideline, Michigan State, and I'm down there and getting ready to call the game. And I see him, and I shake his hand and make it. And he couldn't have been nicer. And all
Probably
I kept thinking was,
guy.
He's a great guy. But I couldn't help thinking, man, JC torched this guy, and I stood there right by him.
No, I mean, the problem with him is they shove him out there to be the spokesman, right? And he's not very good at that, like explaining things. You know, some of these basketball committee members are full of crap, and you know it. But they have a way of like, he didn't. He was hypocritical and crazy. I don't know what happened to the music there, I guess.
We'll get it back here. The Godfather of Soul. Did we pay the bill? Did we send it to James Camp? Okay, good. It just Venmo'd over. North Texas, then USF at 6-2. Mr. Golish, another coach that'll be in high demand. San Diego State is 7-1. He's got him third. James Madison, boy, they went from 1AA to G5. I was like, that's okay. We got this. We're still going to kick ass, and they have. They're 7-1. They beat Texas State. They go to Marshall next. At number one, after beating Rice, Memphis 8-1, and who do they have? Tulane. That's a juicy matchup in G5. But Memphis 8-1, Silverfield, another coach that's going to be. There's a lot of coaches in G5 that are going to be in high demand here because there's just not enough home run hires to fill all the voids that we have. Game of the week, he's got Navy at Notre Dame. Navy 7-1, Notre Dame 6-2. Notre Dame's a 24.5-point favorite. Blake Horvath, he's good. He's good. 1,100 passing yards, 926 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns in 8 games. Jeremiah Love, he's on my Heisman radar for sure. 894 on the ground, 11 TDs in 8 games. Player of the Week, North Texas freshman Caleb Hawkins, mentioned him. He ran for 204 touchdowns against Navy. Shout out to New Mexico. I know you love those New Mexico schools, JC. They're bowl eligible with a 6-3 record. They were 5-7 last year. So kudos to them. Remember, they beat UCLA like a drum, and they beat UNLV. So New Mexico coach Jason Eck.
Dude, I love Jason Eck. Jason Eck was the offensive line coach at Idaho State when Twitter got started. Young guy. Followed me on Twitter, talked to me all the time when I was doing national recruiting. And he's got his big break, baby. He's really good. He's a big, gregarious dude. I thought the Lobos were screwed when they lost Bronco Mendenhall to Utah State. I thought Bronco did them wrong. And then their quarterback went to Utah. But hey, X got him rolling.
I know another big, gregarious dude. Maybe not as big. You've been leaning down, but you're gregarious.
Yes.
Got a big head, at bare minimum, even if you are svelte. Yes. All right. So, deep dive. We installed the extra board for the Triple Indy. Thornton Mellon. Let me tell you who's the boss right now in college football. Forget about the players. Forget about the coaches. Forget about the conference commissioners. Yeah, I said it. See the 2 guys on your screen for those watching on YouTube and X? Yeah, they played some ball. One of them is actually a really good player. But where they're making the most money is representation. These are the 2 most powerful agents. These are the Jerry Maguires of college football. These are the Ari Golds of college football. Entourage throwback. That's Jimmy Sexton at the top, and that is Trace Armstrong at the bottom. Most of you know more about Jimmy than you do Trace, but believe you me, they both are the 2 titans of this sport. So what do we know about Jimmy Sexton? And the only reason I know more than maybe is advertised is because a guy I used to work with, Barrett Jones, offensive lineman for Bama. He was with us at SEC Network for a while before he focused on just making a lot of money and wealth management. He grew up, he's one of his neighbors, grew up around Jimmy Sexton. And would always remind me, like, Jimmy is just a regular guy. I was like, what is this guy? Is he like Jerry Maguire? Is he, show me the money? Is he like flamboyant? No, he's just like a regular guy. He's negotiated over $3 billion in deals. Okay, so if you follow college football, you've heard of him. He started off on his own. He was a very average player at Tennessee. Okay, so I don't even know if we can find stats or anything on Jimmy Sexton at Tennessee. Not sure if he even saw the field. But you know who his first client was? Some guy by the name of Reggie White, his teammate at Tennessee. Yeah, the Hall of Famer. Not a bad guy to rep. Not a bad, like if you know, there's a big media agent by the name of Sandy Montag. How did Sandy Montag get into the representation of media folks? He palled around with John Madden and became John Madden's first agent, and that started an empire. Well, that's Jimmy Sexton. He said, hey, Reggie, you need some help on your contract with the USFL? And he got his contract with the Memphis Showboats. And then that parlayed into the Philadelphia Eagles. And then that parlayed in the Green Bay Packers. And then he started representing coaches, college coaches. And before you knew it, he represents 14 out of the 16 SEC coaches. Think about that. 14. So when you've got a Lane Kiffin and you've got Florida and LSU that want Lane Kiffin, guess what? It's all going through Jimmy. So I'm getting reports, hey, I saw Jimmy on the sideline and at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. Hey, I saw Jimmy talking with Lane in Memphis. Hey, I saw everybody wants to know, where is Jimmy? Jimmy. Agents in college football often pull between 3 to 10% commissions on contract deals. If you start adding that up, that's a lot of money. Jimmy he's paying for the guac. He's going the extra $1.25 surcharge. He's not afraid to go more blue cheese. He is filthy rich. He's 62 years old. He was behind the mega deal for Ndamukong Suh in the NFL, so he also represents some players. But where he has made his bones and where everybody and the thing about coaches, well, I can't say that. Some coaches do get in trouble, but not as much as players. You don't typically get that phone call at 2 a.m. that the coach was at the club, pulled a gun, things got a little haywire. But as we all know, coaches do find trouble in a different form. Anyway, he's been doing it now. He became one of the youngest NFLPA licensed agents ever in 1987. And there's not a more powerful agent, and I would dare say person, in college football than Jimmy Sexton. So that's a name you probably know. Trace Armstrong, maybe you don't know him, but let me just tell you quickly. Trace Armstrong.
I remember he played for Florida, played a defensive end at Florida.
Yeah, and I remember that as a kid. What I didn't remember is he started his career at Arizona State. And then as a junior, the NCAA, they were still doing their thing in the 80s. They denied him a final year of eligibility due to a, quote, academic mix-up. I had no idea. So he was going to be an Arizona State Sun Devil for life, but he can't play an extra year there. He gets a waiver if he transfers, and that's when he transferred to Florida. So he plays on Galen Hall's Gator team in '88. That was a team that's pretty damn loaded. Emmitt Smith, Wilbur Marshall was not on that one. Maybe Lewis Oliver. A lot of dudes. He set a single season record for most tackles for loss with 19. He had 7 sacks. Goes on to a great career with your Chicago Bears, J.C. Sherbert, and the Miami Dolphins and the Oakland Raiders. So, and much of that time, he was the players exec. 8 years, he was the guy that was a full-time executive director for the NFLPA, or for the. He was one of the main representatives of the Players Association. I'm screwing up the whole nomenclature on that. He was the guy everybody thought was going to replace Gene Upshaw. And instead of giving it to him, a player that did all those great things, they gave it to who? DeMaurice Smith. DeMaurice Smith. So what does he do? He says, you know what? Okay, fine. That wasn't meant to be. Give it to DeMaurice Smith. I'll go ahead and start becoming an agent. He represents James Franklin, Marty Schottenheimer, Brady Hoke, Mike McCarthy. He represented Butch Jones, Les Miles, Dana Holgerson, Tom Herman, and even a few media types like Peter Gammons, Chris Mortensen, Dan Lebitard. He apparently still lives in his hometown in Gainesville, although I can't find anybody in Gainesville that sees him much. He's got a wife and 3 kids, but Trace Armstrong, he is like Jimmy Sexton light. So those are the 2 guys. When you're wondering where all these backroom deals are being done and phone calls and buyouts, everybody hates the buyouts. Somebody has to negotiate those buyouts. Somebody has to provide the leverage for those buyouts. These guys are dictating the market for buyouts, for salaries, for all the things that you hear about and perhaps even loathe in the way of college football coaching contracts. And that is our boss deep dive of the week. JC, some final thoughts. I know we got to get out of here quickly.
Yeah, all those top 5 group of 5 teams, 5 through 1, North Texas, 1 Memphis. Ryan Silverfield, Bob Chesney, Sean Lewis, who won at Kent State, by the way, Alex Golish, Eric Morris. You know, I know we say there's no coaches out there, but all these guys would do quite well, in my opinion, in any of the open jobs. So,
I'm with you.
You know, just thinking about that, you know, these guys are all winners and have won for a long time. You know, not a lot of people talk about Ryan Silverfield enough, I think, but he's good. So anyway, yeah, looking forward to this weekend and another episode next week, man. Maybe I don't think there's going to be a 5th SEC firing in a row.
As my brother-in-law likes to say, if they can find $39 million between the seat cushions in Lexington, maybe. Nate is your spirit animal. Sam Murphy, he is my movie spirit animal. He does this every week. I got to just get this in. Fiver Dimer, Meet the Parents and the Firm. Meet the Parents is one of the most quotable movies of all time. That is a Dimer plus for me. The Firm, a Fiver, very good movie. Wilford Brimley, I think, was like 19 in that movie, and he looks like 106.
Yeah, he was like 41 in Cocoon, which is about senior citizens. Both those Dimers plus. I love both of those movies.
I'm right there with you. Our producer is Phil Mad Dog Mullinex. He's a dimer for JC. This is Mike. Thanks so much for being the best college football audience on this podcast each and every week. We'll see you next time on JC and Morgan.